Have you ever been humiliated so badly that it changed your entire life? What if I told you that being fired for being too shy was the best thing that ever happened to me? The conference room felt like a courtroom. 23 pairs of eyes stared at me. My boss, Victoria Chen, stood at the head of the table with that smile. That terrible, knowing smile that meant someone was about to bleed. "Marcus," she said, her voice cutting through the silence like a blade through silk. "We need to talk about your performance." My hands were shaking. They always shook when she looked at me like that. Like I was something stuck to the bottom of her designer heels. The PowerPoint behind her showed quarterly numbers. My numbers. They were good. Better than good. I'd brought in 3 million in revenue that quarter. More than anyone else on the team. But she wasn't looking at the numbers. "You're too quiet," she said. "Too shy. Too." She paused, savoring the moment. "Weak." The word hung in the air like poison gas. Someone laughed. A nervous, uncomfortable laugh from the back of the room. Then another. Soon, half the room was chuckling. Not because it was funny. Because they were terrified of her. I'd worked at Chen Marketing Solutions for 7 years. 7 years of 60-hour weeks. 7 years of missed birthdays, cancelled dates, and cold dinners. 7 years of being the first one in the office and the last one to leave. "Your work is adequate," Victoria continued, clicking to the next slide. It showed a photo from the company retreat. There I was, sitting alone at lunch while everyone else networked. But business isn't just about work. It's about presence. It's about power. It's about commanding a room. She clicked again. Another photo. Me, stumbling over my words during a presentation. "You make our clients uncomfortable," she said. "They don't trust someone who can't look them in the eye." That was a lie. My clients loved me. They called me directly with problems. They sent me Christmas cards. They renewed their contracts because of me. But Victoria didn't care about truth. She cared about image. "I'm terminating your employment, effective immediately," she said. "Security will escort you out." The room went silent. Even the air conditioning seemed to pause. I stood up. My legs felt like water. 23 faces watched me gather my things. My coffee mug with the motivational quote. My stress ball. The photo of my mother. "This is a mistake," I said. My voice was barely a whisper. Victoria laughed. Actually laughed. A bright, cruel sound that echoed off the glass walls. "The only mistake," she said, "was keeping you this long. Shy people don't survive in this industry, Marcus. They get eaten alive." Security appeared at the door. 2 men in black uniforms, waiting to parade me through the office like a criminal. As I walked past Victoria, she leaned in close. I could smell her perfume. Expensive. Sharp. Like everything about her. "A word of advice," she whispered. "Find a nice, quiet job. Maybe data entry. Something where you don't have to talk to anyone. This industry isn't for people like you." The walk to the elevator felt like a funeral march. Every cubicle I passed, every desk, every familiar face, they all looked away. Nobody wanted to catch my disease. Nobody wanted to be seen with the weak one. Sarah from accounting gave me a sad smile. Tom from creative stared at his screen. Even Jake, who I'd trained, who I'd mentored for 2 years, pretended to be on a phone call. The elevator doors closed. My reflection stared back at me. Pale. Shocked. Defeated. Or so Victoria thought. What she didn't know was that humiliation is the most powerful fuel in the universe. What she didn't know was that quiet people notice everything. We see every weakness. Every secret. Every crack in the armor. And I had been watching Victoria Chen for 7 years. The elevator descended. 30 floors. 30 floors to plan my revenge. By the time I reached the lobby, I wasn't the same person who had entered that conference room. Something had broken inside me. Or maybe something had finally been born. The security guards left me at the building entrance. It was raining. Of course it was raining. Los Angeles only gets 60 days of rain a year, and this had to be one of them. I stood there, cardboard box getting soggy, watching the city blur through the droplets. That's when my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Heard what happened. That was brutal. Coffee. I almost ignored it. But something made me respond. Who is this? Someone who knows Victoria's secrets. Interested? My heart stopped. Then started again, faster than before. Where? I typed. Cafe Luna. 2 blocks south. 20 minutes. I looked back at the Chen Marketing Solutions building. 40 stories of glass and steel. Victoria's kingdom. She was probably up there right now, celebrating. Telling everyone how she'd finally gotten rid of the weak link. 20 minutes later, I was sitting across from a woman I'd never seen before. She was maybe 40, with sharp eyes and careful hands. She stirred her coffee slowly, methodically, like she was diffusing a bomb. I'm Diana, she said. I used to be Victoria's business partner. Used to be. Those words carried weight. She forced me out 5 years ago, Diana continued. Said I wasn't aggressive enough. Bought my shares for pennies. Now the company's worth 50 million. She slid a folder across the table. Inside were documents. Contracts. Bank statements. Things that shouldn't exist. Victoria Chen isn't as smart as she thinks, Diana said. She's been skimming from client accounts. Small amounts. Nothing obvious. But over 7 years. It adds up. My hands were steady now. Perfectly steady. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Diana smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. Because shy, quiet Marcus knows every client personally. They trust you. They'll believe you. And I bet you have their personal phone numbers. She was right. I did. All of them. In my personal phone, not the company one they'd confiscated. What do you want? I asked. I want to watch her fall, Diana said. But more than that, I want to build something better. Something that makes her company look like a lemonade stand. She leaned forward. I have 10 million in funding ready. I have office space. I have everything except someone who knows the clients. Someone they trust. The coffee shop faded around us. All I could see was possibility. Partners, she asked, extending her hand. I looked at that hand for a long moment. Taking it would mean war. It would mean becoming someone else. Someone Victoria wouldn't recognize. I took it. Partners, I said. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop, my phone, and Diana's folder. I made lists. Client names. Contact information. Contract renewal dates. Weaknesses in Victoria's operation. By morning, I had a plan. Not just for revenge. For complete annihilation. The first call was the hardest. Robert Kingston, CEO of Kingston Electronics. Our biggest client. Victoria's crown jewel. 20 million a year in billing. Robert, I said when he answered. It's Marcus. I need to tell you something about your account at Chen Marketing. Marcus? He sounded surprised. I heard Victoria let you go. Stupidest thing I've ever heard. You're the only reason we stayed. My heart raced. That's why I'm calling. There are things about your account you need to know. I could hear him sit up straighter. What kind of things? Not over the phone, I said. Can we meet? Tomorrow? Breakfast? The Four Seasons. 7 a.m. Marcus, is everything all right? No, I said. But it will be. The next morning, I put on my best suit. The one I'd bought for my mother's funeral but never wore to the office because Victoria said it made me look like an accountant. Robert was already waiting when I arrived. He stood when he saw me, which he'd never done when I was just an employee. We shook hands, and his grip was firm, concerned. You look different, he said. I am different, I replied. Over Eggs Benedict and coffee that cost more than my weekly grocery budget, I laid out everything. The skimming. The overcharging. The fake metrics Victoria had been feeding him. Robert's face went from confused to angry to something beyond anger. Something cold and calculating. You have proof? He asked. I slid him copies of Diana's documents. His hands tightened on the papers until his knuckles went white. 20%, he said quietly. She's been overcharging us 20% and pocketing the difference. For 3 years, I added. He set down the papers carefully, precisely, like they might explode. What do you want, Marcus? He asked. I'm starting my own firm, I said. With proper backing, proper structure, and proper ethics. When? Monday. It was Thursday. That gave me 4 days to build a company from nothing. Robert laughed. Not like Victoria had laughed. This was admiration. You always were the smart one, he said. Just too quiet for anyone to notice. He pulled out his phone and started typing. I'm sending you our contract termination notice for Chen Marketing. Effective immediately. And Marcus? He looked up. Kingston Electronics would like to be your first client. Same budget. Better results. Deal? We shook hands again. $20 million. Just like that. One more thing, Robert said as we stood to leave. Chen Marketing handles accounts for Davidson Tech, Meridian Pharmaceuticals, and Bauer Financial, right? I nodded. We play golf together every Sunday, he said. This Sunday might be interesting. By Sunday night, I had 4 clients signed. 60 million in combined billing. Diana had been busy too. She'd recruited 5 of Victoria's best employees. People who'd been waiting for an excuse to leave. Monday morning, 8 a.m. The offices of Phoenix Marketing Solutions opened for business. Our logo was simple. A bird rising from flames. Victoria would understand the message. Diana had chosen the location carefully. Same building as Chen Marketing. 3 floors down. Close enough to be a constant reminder. Far enough to be legal. The first person through our doors wasn't a client. It was Jake. My former mentee. The one who'd pretended to be on a call when I was escorted out. Marcus, he said, looking at his shoes. I'm sorry. I should have said something. Done something. What do you want, Jake? I asked. A job, he said. Victoria's falling apart. She knows about the clients. She's screaming at everyone. 3 people quit this morning. I looked at Diana. She nodded. You start tomorrow, I said. But Jake, if you ever pretend not to know me again, you're gone. Never, he said. Never again. By the end of the first week, we had 7 clients and 12 employees. By the end of the first month, we had 15 clients and 30 employees. Victoria tried to sue us. The cease and desist letter arrived on a Tuesday. Diana laughed when she read it. Non-compete clause, she said. Too bad Marcus was wrongfully terminated. Makes the whole contract void. She had our lawyer send a response. A single line, see you in court. Victoria never filed the lawsuit. Month 2. We landed Techron Industries. 30 million in billing. They'd been with Chen Marketing for a decade. Month 3. We took Morrison Hotels. 25 million. Month 4. Chen Marketing lost their biggest investor. I knew because Sarah from accounting told me. We'd hired her the week before. She said Victoria had called an all-hands meeting. Said the company was restructuring. Said they needed to cut costs. 20 people were laid off that day. Good people. Talented people. People who'd laughed in that conference room when Victoria called me weak. I hired 5 of them. Month 5 brought the phone call I'd been waiting for. Marcus. Victoria's voice was different. Smaller. We need to talk. I'm listening, I said. You've made your point, she said. You've proven you're not weak. Can we call a truce? A truce? I repeated. Like when you gave me a chance to improve. Like when you listened to my side. Silence. I'll pay you, she said. 5 million. Just stop taking my clients. Your clients? I said. I thought they were the company's clients. 10 million, she said. Her voice was desperate now. Victoria, I said. Do you remember what you told me? About shy people in this industry? Marcus, Please, they get eaten alive, I finished. You were right. The shy Marcus did get eaten. But something else was born that day. What do you want? She asked. I want you to know how it feels, I said. To be humiliated. To be laughed at. To walk out of a building you gave everything to, carrying a cardboard box while everyone watches. That's not going to happen, she said. It already is, I replied. I hung up. Month 6. The news broke. Chen Marketing Solutions was being investigated for fraud. Diana's documents had found their way to the right people. The FBI raided their offices on a Wednesday morning. I watched from our conference room window. 3 floors down, but the angle was perfect. I could see the agents carrying out boxes, computers, files. And then I saw her, Victoria Chen, being led out in handcuffs. Her perfect suit wrinkled. Her perfect hair messed. Her perfect image shattered. She looked up. I don't know how she knew, but she looked directly at our window. Our eyes met across 3 floors and 6 months of war. I didn't smile. I didn't wave. I just stood there, letting her see me. The shy, weak Marcus who'd destroyed her empire. The local news picked up the story that evening. Marketing giant falls, CEO arrested for embezzlement. They interviewed former employees. Anonymous sources who talked about the toxic culture. The fear. The humiliation tactics. Jake came into my office that night. Everyone else had gone home, but I was still there. Still watching the news coverage on my laptop. You did it, he said. You actually did it. We did it, I corrected. No, he said. This was you. The quiet one who noticed everything. Who remembered everything. Who planned everything. He was right, but I didn't want to admit it. Old habits. She created you, Jake continued. The person who could destroy her. She literally created her own worst enemy. The trial lasted 3 months. Victoria was found guilty on all charges. 5 to 7 years in federal prison. Her assets were frozen. Her reputation was destroyed. Her name became a cautionary tale in business schools. I testified. Had to. The prosecution needed my documentation of the client relationships. I wore the same suit I'd worn to that breakfast with Robert. My accountant suit. Victoria's lawyer tried to paint me as a disgruntled employee seeking revenge. He wasn't wrong. But revenge and justice aren't mutually exclusive. Mr. Thompson, the prosecutor asked me, did you benefit from reporting Ms. Chen's crimes? Yes, I said. My company gained clients who were being defrauded. And personally, I looked at Victoria. She was smaller than I remembered. Or maybe I was bigger. I gained self-respect, I said. The courtroom was quiet. Ms. Chen told me shy people don't survive in this industry, I continued. She was wrong. Shy people survive just fine. We just do it quietly. Phoenix Marketing Solutions went public 2 years later. The IPO valued us at $200 million. Diana and I rang the bell at the New York Stock Exchange. The photos were in every business publication. In one photo, you can see it in the background. A small framed piece of paper on my office wall. It's the termination letter from Chen Marketing. The one that said I was too shy, too weak, too quiet for business. I keep it as a reminder. Victoria got out after 4 years. Good behavior. I heard she tried to start a consulting firm. It failed within 6 months. No one would work with her. No one trusted her. She applied for a job once. At Phoenix. HR flagged it immediately and brought it to me. Her resume had a 4-year gap she tried to explain as a sabbatical for personal growth. Diana wanted to frame the application as a trophy. I almost let her. Instead, I did something else. I hired her. Not for an executive position. Not for management. Not even for sales. I hired her as a junior account coordinator. Entry level. The same position I'd started in 12 years ago. She lasted 3 days. On her 3rd day, she came to my office. I made her wait 45 minutes. When my assistant finally let her in, I was on a conference call. I held up a finger for her to wait. Made her stand there for another 10 minutes while I finished discussing a $50 million acquisition. When I finally hung up, I looked at her the way she used to look at me. Like something unpleasant. Like something beneath notice. Yes. I said. This is humiliating, she said. Is it? I asked. I hadn't noticed. You're doing this on purpose, she said. Making me work under people I used to manage. Making me get coffee. Making me take notes in meetings where I used to make decisions. You're free to leave, I said. The door's right there. She looked at the door. Then back at me. I need this job, she said. You know I need this job. No one else will hire me. Then I suggest you work harder, I said. Your performance has been adequate. But business isn't just about work. It's about presence. It's about power. It's about commanding a room. I watched the recognition dawn in her eyes. Her own words, thrown back at her. I won't quit, she said. I won't give you the satisfaction. Good, I said. Then get back to work. The Singapore team needs coffee for their 3 p.m. meeting. Make sure it's hot. She left without another word. She quit the next day. No notice. No resignation letter. She just didn't show up. I had security pack her things in a cardboard box. The same kind of box I'd carried out of her building 3 years ago. Inside, I placed a single note. This industry isn't for people like you. Diana thought it was cruel. Maybe it was. But cruelty had been my teacher, and I'd learned my lessons well. The day after Victoria quit, I got a call from Robert Kingston. Heard you hired her, he said. Briefly, I replied. That was either the kindest or the cruelest thing I've ever seen, he said. Which do you think? I asked. Both, he said. Definitely both. Phoenix Marketing Solutions is worth $500 million now. We have offices in 12 cities. 400 employees. More clients than we can handle. I still interview every single hire personally. I look for the quiet ones. The shy ones. The ones who observe everything but say little. They make the best employees. They see things others miss. They remember things others forget. And they're hungry. So hungry. Because they've been underestimated their entire lives. Last week, a young woman came in for an interview. Fresh out of college. Soft-spoken. Barely made eye contact. Her previous internship supervisor had written that she was too introverted for client-facing work. I hired her on the spot. But I'm shy, she said, confused. Everyone says that's a weakness in this industry. Everyone's wrong, I told her. Shy people built this company. We just did it so quietly that nobody noticed until it was too late. She starts Monday. I'm putting her on the Kingston account. Robert specifically requested someone who listens more than they talk. Sometimes I drive past the old Chen marketing building. It's a WeWork now. Shared office space for startups. There's something poetic about that. Victoria's empire, divided into tiny pieces, rented by the hour. I saw her once, about 6 months ago. At a Starbucks downtown. She was sitting alone, typing on an old laptop. Her clothes were nice but not designer. Her hair was grey at the roots. She saw me at the same moment. We locked eyes across the coffee shop. She looked tired. Defeated. Human. I could have walked over. Could have said something. Could have twisted the knife one more time. Instead, I did what shy people do best. I observed. I remembered. And I left without a word. Because the best revenge isn't making someone suffer. It's becoming someone they never thought you could be. It's taking their insults and forging them into armor. It's proving that quiet strength is still strength. Victoria taught me that power comes from commanding a room. She was wrong. Power comes from building a better room. One where shy people don't have to shout to be heard. Where quiet competence matters more than loud confidence. Where results speak louder than personality. Phoenix Marketing Solutions has a motto now. It's engraved in the lobby, 10-foot letters in brushed steel, quietly powerful. Every morning, 400 employees walk past those words. Many of them are refugees from toxic workplaces. Many of them were told they were too quiet, too soft, too weak for business. They're not. They never were. They just needed someone to see their value. Someone who understood that the most dangerous person in the room isn't the loudest one. It's the quiet one taking notes. I keep a photo on my desk from that awful day. It's a screenshot from the security footage. Me, walking to the elevator, carrying my cardboard box. In the background, you can see Victoria laughing. People ask why I keep such a painful reminder. I tell them it's not painful anymore. It's motivational. It's proof that the worst day of your life can become the first day of your real life. Diana retired last year. Sold her shares for 80 million. She sent me a card that said, "Thanks for the best revenge story ever. You're not so silent, partner." I promoted Jake to Vice President of Operations. During his acceptance speech, he told the whole company about that day he pretended not to know me. About how it haunted him. About how second chances can change everything. Sarah from accounting is our CFO now. She implemented a transparency system where every dollar is tracked and visible. She calls it the Anti-Victoria Protocol. The shy Marcus would have hated the attention. Would have deflected the credit. Would have insisted it was a team effort. But I'm not the shy Marcus anymore. I'm the Marcus that Victoria created. The one forged in humiliation and tempered in revenge. And I have one more move to make. Next month, Phoenix Marketing Solutions is acquiring the building. The one where Chen Marketing used to be. We're turning it into our new headquarters. All 40 floors. The conference room where Victoria fired me, that's going to be my office. The elevator where I planned my revenge, we're covering it in mirrors. So everyone can see themselves clearly. See who they really are. See who they could become. And on the top floor, where Victoria's office used to be, we're building something special. A training center for young professionals. For the quiet ones. The shy ones. The ones the business world tries to break. We're calling it the Thompson Center for Quiet Leadership. Victoria's name won't appear anywhere in the building. That's the final insult. To be erased. To be forgotten. To become nothing more than a cautionary tale told in business schools. But my story will be there. In every classroom. In every hallway. A reminder that the person you humiliate today might be the person who owns your building tomorrow. I sometimes wonder if Victoria ever thinks about that day. That moment when she laughed at me. When she called me weak. When she said I'd never survive in this industry. I wonder if she realizes that she was right about one thing. The shy Marcus didn't survive. He evolved. The local business journal is doing a profile on Phoenix next month. They want to know the secret to our success. How we went from 0 to 500 million in 3 years. I told them it's simple. We hire the people others overlook. We value the voices others ignore. We build strength from what others call weakness. And we remember everything. Last week, I got a letter. No return address. Familiar handwriting. Marcus, it read. I created a monster. I see that now. I took a good, quiet person and turned him into someone ruthless. Someone calculating. Someone like me. That's my real punishment. Not the prison. Not the poverty. But knowing that I created the thing that destroyed me. I hope you're happy. I hope it was worth it. I read it 3 times. Then I framed it. It hangs next to my termination letter. She's wrong, though. She didn't create a monster. She revealed one. One that had been hiding behind shyness and self-doubt. One that needed pain to grow strong. Am I happy? That's the wrong question. I'm successful. I'm powerful. I'm respected. But happiness? That's complicated. Because every morning, when I look in the mirror, I see 2 people. The shy Marcus who just wanted to do good work and be left alone. And the Phoenix Marcus who burned everything down to build something better. They're both me. They'll always both be me. The shy one still flinches when someone raises their voice. Still prefers emails to phone calls. Still sits alone at lunch sometimes, watching everyone else network. But the Phoenix one owns the building, signs the paychecks, makes the decisions. It's a strange duality, being both the victim and the victor, the prey and the predator, the destroyed and the destroyer. Sometimes new employees ask me for advice. How to succeed, how to climb the ladder, how to make it in this industry. I tell them 3 things. First, never underestimate the quiet ones. They're watching. They're learning. They're planning. Second, humiliation is fuel. Let it burn hot, but controlled. Use it to forge yourself into something harder, something sharper. Third, the best revenge is so complete that your enemy becomes a footnote in your success story. Victoria Chen was once the most powerful person in marketing in this city. Now she's just the person who made the mistake of firing me. That's the thing about power. It's not about being loud. It's not about commanding a room. It's about building something that lasts longer than your enemies. 3 months after the acquisition, we held our first training session in the Thompson Center. 20 young professionals, all referred to as too quiet or too shy by previous employers. I taught the first class myself. Strategic silence, the power of observation. Everyone in this room, I began, has been told you're not enough. Not loud enough. Not bold enough. Not aggressive enough. I'm here to tell you they're wrong. A hand went up. A young man, barely out of college. But how do we compete with the loud ones, he asked. The ones who dominate every meeting? I smiled. Not Victoria's cruel smile. Something warmer. Something real. You don't compete, I said. You wait. You watch. You learn their weaknesses. And then, when they least expect it, you build something they can't tear down. That sounds like revenge, someone said. No, I corrected. Revenge is emotional. This is strategic. Revenge wants to hurt. Strategy wants to win. I pulled up a slide. It showed Chen Marketing's stock price over time. A steady climb for years. Then a cliff. This is what happens when loud leadership meets quiet strategy, I said. Another hand. A woman this time. Did you always know you'd win? She asked. I thought about that morning. Walking out with my cardboard box. The rain. The humiliation. No, I said honestly. I didn't know I'd win. I just knew I couldn't let her be right about me. The class ran 3 hours. We talked about networking for introverts. Presentation skills for the soft-spoken. Leadership styles that don't require domination. At the end, I gave them an assignment. Think of the worst thing anyone's ever said about your personality, I said. Write it down. Then write 10 ways that trait could be a business advantage. They looked skeptical. Trust me, I said. Your biggest weakness is just your biggest strength that hasn't found its purpose yet. One student stayed after class. She reminded me of myself 10 years ago. Quiet. Observant. Scared. Mr. Thompson, she said. Can I ask you something personal? I nodded. Do you ever regret it? What you did to her? I looked out the window. 40 floors down, the city sprawled in all directions. My city now, in a way it never was when I was shy, Marcus. I regret that it was necessary, I said. I regret that she chose cruelty when kindness would have cost her nothing. But regret what I did? No. She taught me the rules of the game. I just played it better. The student nodded and left. But her question stayed with me. That night, I pulled out Victoria's letter again. I created a monster. Maybe she did. Or maybe monsters aren't created. Maybe they're just revealed. Pressure and pain stripping away the polite exterior to show what was always underneath. I thought about calling Robert. Or Diana. Or anyone who'd understand. But that's the thing about being the quiet one who made it. You're still quiet. Success doesn't change your nature. It just gives you better armor. Instead, I did what I always do. I worked. Reviewed contracts. Planned expansions. Built my empire one quiet decision at a time. At midnight, my phone buzzed. A LinkedIn notification. Victoria Chen had viewed my profile. I almost laughed. Even now, she was watching. Seeing what I'd become. Measuring her fall against my rise. I didn't click on her profile. Didn't need to. I knew what I'd find. A sparse page. A few connections. A career that ended the day she laughed at me. But mine didn't end. It began. The next morning brought a surprise. An email from a name I didn't recognize. The subject line, from one shy person to another. I opened it. Mr. Thompson, you don't know me, but I know your story. Everyone in the industry does. I'm writing because I'm in a similar situation. My boss just called me pathetically weak in front of the entire team. I wanted to disappear. Then I remembered your story. So instead of quitting, I'm starting my own firm. This email is my resignation letter to fear. Thank you for showing us that quiet people can roar. A future phoenix. I read it 5 times. Then I forwarded it to Diana with a note. We started something. She replied immediately, no. You started something. I just helped. Maybe that's true. Maybe the shy Marcus who walked out of that conference room carrying a cardboard box started a revolution. A quiet revolution. One where the meek don't inherit the earth, they buy it, one strategic decision at a time. The Business Journal article came out last week. The headline, The Quiet Giant, How Phoenix Marketing Solutions Redefined Power. They interviewed 24 people. Employees, clients, competitors, even a few professors who use our story as a case study. But the quote they led with was mine. Victoria Chen told me shy people get eaten alive in this industry. She was half right. We do get eaten. But then we come back as something stronger. Something she never saw coming. We come back as ourselves, without apology. The article went viral. 3 million views in 2 days. The comments section was full of stories. People who'd been fired for being too quiet, too nice, too different. All of them saying the same thing, if Marcus could do it, maybe they could too. That's when I realized the real revenge wasn't taking Victoria's clients. It wasn't watching her company crumble. It wasn't even the prison sentence. The real revenge was proving her worldview wrong. She believed power came from dominance, from volume, from crushing the weak. But power, real power, comes from building something better. From lifting up the people others push down. From creating a world where being quiet isn't a weakness. Victoria's world was small. A zero-sum game where someone had to lose for her to win. My world is bigger. Big enough for all the quiet ones. All the shy ones. All the ones who were told they weren't enough. We're building something here at Phoenix. Not just a company. A proof of concept. Evidence that there's more than one way to succeed. More than one way to lead. More than one way to be powerful. Every Friday, I hold open office hours. Any employee can come talk to me. No appointment needed. No agenda required. Just 2 people talking. Last Friday, a junior designer came in. She'd been with us 6 months. Brilliant work. Terrible at self-promotion. I have an idea, she said. But I'm scared to share it in meetings. Everyone else is so confident. So sure. Tell me, I said. She outlined a complete rebrand strategy for one of our biggest clients. It was genius. Innovative. Exactly what the client needed. Why haven't you shared this? I asked. Because someone louder will claim credit, she said. It always happens. Not here, I said. Here, we document everything. Every idea. Every contribution. Timestamps and attribution. I called an emergency meeting. Made her present the idea. Made sure everyone knew it was hers. The client loved it. $5 million expansion of our contract. See? I told her after. Your ideas don't need volume. They need value. She smiled. A real smile. The kind I never managed when I worked for Victoria. That's the difference between us. Victoria broke people to build her empire. I build people to grow mine. The numbers prove it works. Our employee retention rate is 94. Industry average is 67. Our client satisfaction